Captain Daho stared at the monitoring screens, his eyes reflecting the blue glow of Earth's oceans thousands of kilometers below. For 3 centuries, the observation fleet had documented humanity's evolution from primitive agricultural societies to a spacefaring civilization on the cusp of interstellar travel. The humans have increased quantum scanning operations by 37% this cycle, reported Officer Jisoo, her voice carrying the practiced detachment of a scientist studying potentially dangerous specimens. Daho nodded. They're getting closer to detecting our presence. The bridge of the command vessel hummed with quiet activity as the crew of 12 continued their work. They were members of the Stellar Confederation, tasked with monitoring potential member species across the galaxy. Their technology advancement curve continues to exceed predictions, said analyst Tamin, gesturing to a holographic chart. At this rate, they'll achieve warp capability within 5 years. Daho's expression remained neutral, but concern radiated through his posture. Continue observation protocol. Maintain distance. We cannot interfere with their natural development, regardless of how concerning their military applications may be. The observation fleet, hidden behind advanced cloaking fields, continued its silent watch as humanity reached ever closer to the stars. The quiet hum of the ship's engines was the only sound in Captain Daho's private quarters. He sat alone, reviewing 300 years of observation data. His people had watched Earth since humans first harnessed electricity. They had seen world wars, nuclear weapons, and the first hesitant steps into space. Now humanity stood at the edge of a great leap forward. Daho touched the screen, bringing up footage from Earth's latest space station. The humans moved with purpose, their actions efficient despite their limited technology. He zoomed in on a female engineer working on what appeared to be a new type of sensor array. A soft chime announced a visitor. "Enter," he said. Officer Jisoo stepped inside, holding a datapad. "Captain, I've completed the risk assessment you requested. Your conclusions. Humans are advancing faster than any species we've ever observed." She handed him the pad. "Their pattern recognition skills are exceptional. I believe detection is no longer a matter of if, but when." Daho reviewed the data, his face giving away nothing. "How long?" "At current rates, less than 1 Earth year." The captain stood and walked to the observation window. Their ship maintained position above Earth's night side, the darkness below broken by the scattered lights of human cities. 3 centuries without detection, he murmured. A record for any observation fleet. The previous commander said humans were too busy fighting each other to look up. Jisoo remarked. "That's changed." Daho turned. "Send a priority message to the Confederation Council. They need to prepare for possible first contact protocols." "Sir, protocol states we should withdraw if detection becomes imminent." "I'm aware of protocol, officer." His voice was firm but not unkind. "But humanity deserves special consideration." Later that night cycle, Daho called his senior staff to the briefing room. Maps of Earth's major space installations floated in the air as holograms. Analyst Tamin presented the latest findings. Their quantum detection technology has made 3 significant leaps in the past month alone, he explained. This facility in Korea shows particular promise. The hologram zoomed in on a research complex nestled in mountains. "What are they working on?" asked Security Chief Kangda. "A new type of particle detector," Tamin replied. "It's designed to identify distortions in space-time, precisely the kind our cloaking fields create." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "Could we adjust our cloaking technology?" asked Jisoo. Engineer Sunwoo shook his head. "Not without returning to a Confederation shipyard. Our current systems leave a trace, however faint, if they know exactly what to look for." Daho studied the Korean facility. "Who leads this research?" Tamin brought up an image of a serious-looking human male. "Dr. Hanbin. He's been searching for evidence of extraterrestrial life for 20 years. His colleagues often dismissed his theories, but recently his funding has increased." "Because he's getting results," Daho concluded. Should we interfere with his research? Kang Day asked. A small power failure at the right moment could set them back months. No. Daho's response was immediate. We observe only. The directive has not changed in 300 years, and it will not change now. The meeting continued into the night. Plans were made, contingencies discussed. When it ended, only Daho and Jisoo remained. You've been unusually quiet, he noted. Jisoo hesitated. Permission to speak freely, Captain. Always. I believe you want them to find us. Daho didn't answer immediately. He walked to a display showing Earth rotating slowly. My great-grandmother was on the first observation ship, he finally said. She told me stories about early humans, their art, their music, their endless curiosity. She believed they would one day join us among the stars as equals. The Confederation might not share that view, Jisoo warned. Many still see humans as too aggressive, too unpredictable. Perhaps. Daho turned to face her. But I'd watched them overcome disease, climate crisis, and resource wars. They pull together when faced with extinction. That resilience is rare in the galaxy. And if they react with hostility to our presence, then we withdraw as planned. He smiled slightly. But I don't think they will. Dr. Hanbin has spent his life looking for us. Let's see what happens when he finally succeeds. The next morning, alarms blared across the ship. Daho rushed to the bridge where Tae-min was hunched over his console. Report, Daho ordered. The Korean facility activated a new type of scan 5 minutes ago. Tae-min explained, his voice tense. It's different from anything we've seen before. Sir, I think it detected us. Daho watched as data streamed across the screens. After 3 centuries of silent observation, the watchers had become the watched. Maintain position, he ordered. Let's see what they do next. On Earth below, in a small lab in the mountains of Korea, Dr. Hanbin stared at his computer screen in disbelief. After 20 years of searching, he had his answer. They were not alone. Dr. Hanbin adjusted the settings on his quantum detection array with practiced precision. For months, he'd tracked unusual anomalies in near-Earth orbit, patterns too regular to be natural phenomena. I'm telling you, Sujai, these readings can't be dismissed as equipment malfunctions, he insisted to his colleague. Suji frowned at the data. If you're right, we're not alone up there. The Korean Space Agency laboratory hummed with activity as researchers worked through the night. Hanbin had dedicated his career to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, earning both respect and ridicule from peers. Look at this frequency pattern. He pointed to a specific data set. It repeats at intervals that suggest artificial dampening, like a cloaking field. 3 days later, Hanbin stood before the United Earth Security Council, his discovery impossible to ignore. Representatives from nations worldwide listened as he explained the evidence of an alien observation fleet. We've been watched, he concluded, and now we know they're there. The room erupted in chaos after Hanbin finished speaking. Government officials shouted questions while military leaders demanded immediate action. Hanbin stood calmly at the podium, waiting for the noise to settle. Dr. Hanbin, said the council chairwoman, are you absolutely certain these readings indicate artificial objects? Yes, he replied simply. I've ruled out equipment errors, natural phenomena, and every other explanation. Something is up there, watching us. Sujai stood beside him, operating the display that showed their findings. She advanced to the next slide, showing a complex data pattern. We first detected these anomalies 3 months ago, she explained. They appeared as tiny ripples in the quantum field surrounding Earth. At first, we thought they were just background noise. Hanbin nodded, but the pattern was too regular. Natural quantum fluctuations are random. These weren't. The defense minister leaned forward. If these are alien vessels, why haven't our conventional detection systems found them? Because they're using technology far beyond ours, Hanbin replied. Their cloaking field bends light and other electromagnetic radiation around their ships. It's like they're wearing an invisibility cloak. Then how did you find them? Asked a skeptical representative from India. Han Bin smiled slightly. Because no cloak is perfect. Their technology creates tiny distortions in the quantum field, like ripples in water around an invisible stone. The council chairwoman called for order as debate broke out again. What do you propose we do with this information, Doctor? Han Bin looked at Suji, who nodded encouragingly. I believe we should attempt contact, he said. Later that night, Han Bin sat alone in his lab, staring at the live data feed from his detection array. The patterns remained unchanging. The watchers were still there. The door opened, and Sujai entered with 2 cups of coffee. You should get some sleep, she said, placing 1 cup beside him. How can I sleep? He asked. After all these years searching. They're really up there, Sujai. She sat beside him. The military wants to shoot them down. With what? Han Bin laughed without humor. If they have cloaking technology, imagine what their weapons might be like. The council is divided. Half want to hide this discovery from the public. The other half want to announce it immediately. Han Bin sipped his coffee. And what do you think we should do? Suji considered the question. I think if they wanted to harm us, they would have done it already. A soft beep from the computer interrupted them. Han Bin turned quickly, his eyes widening at the screen. They're moving, he whispered. The quantum distortion patterns were shifting, reorganizing themselves in Earth's orbit. Han Bin's fingers flew across the keyboard as he tracked the changes. Are they leaving? Suji asked, leaning closer. No, they're. Han Bin frowned. They're forming some kind of pattern. The door burst open and Director Kim rushed in. Han Bin, the president needs you at the Blue House immediately. Every major observatory around the world is reporting the same thing. The distortions are changing. 20 minutes later, Han Bin stood in the president's emergency briefing room. Military officers and government officials crowded around displays showing data from observatories worldwide. It's like they know we've spotted them, the defense minister said. They probably do, Han Bin replied. Our detection scans might be as obvious to them as a spotlight. The president turned to him. What are they doing now? Reconfiguring their positions, Han Bin explained. Almost like. He paused, studying the pattern. Almost like they're preparing to reveal themselves. A young officer burst into the room. Sir, we're receiving a transmission on all frequencies. It's coming from up there. The room fell silent. The president nodded, and the officer activated the main screen. At first, there was only static. Then, slowly, a face appeared. It wasn't human. The being had pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely, but the words came through in perfect Korean. People of Earth, we are the observation fleet of the Stellar Confederation. For 3 centuries, we have watched your development. Now that you have detected us, we wish to establish formal contact. Han Bin felt his heart racing. He had spent his life searching the stars, enduring mockery and skepticism. Now vindication stood before him on the screen, proof that humanity was not alone. The president looked at him. Dr. Han Bin, you've studied this possibility longer than anyone. What should we say to them? Han Bin stepped forward, his voice steady despite his racing heart. We should welcome them, and then ask why they've been watching us for so long. As dawn broke over Korea, humanity prepared for its first official conversation with extraterrestrial intelligence, and high above them, Captain Daho of the observation fleet waited for their response, ending 3 centuries of silence. On the flagship of the observation fleet, alarms spread through the command center. They've detected our presence, Officer Ji-Soo reported, her normally calm voice edged with tension. Their quantum arrays have locked onto our cloaking signatures. Captain Daho faced the most significant decision of his career. The Stellar Confederation protocols were clear. If detected, withdraw immediately to prevent contamination of developing civilizations. Prepare retreat vectors, he ordered. Meanwhile on Earth, Han Bin worked with military scientists to develop a counter-cloaking field generator. If we can disable their technology advantage, we can establish contact on more equal terms, he explained to General Minho. The general nodded grimly. And if they're hostile? Then we need to be prepared, Han Bin acknowledged. But I believe they've had countless opportunities to harm us if that was their intention. Earth's nations united in an unprecedented cooperative effort, establishing Operation Revelation, a plan to expose the Watchers and initiate humanity's first official extraterrestrial contact. Captain Deho paced the bridge of his ship. The monitoring screens showed increased activity at every major Earth military installation. The humans were mobilizing. Status report, he demanded. Officer Jisoo looked up from her console. Their quantum detection systems are now active at 12 locations around the planet. They're triangulating our exact positions. Engineer Sunwoo spoke up from his station. Captain, they're developing some kind of counterfield. My readings show unusual energy signatures building at their Korean facility. Daeho stopped pacing. What kind of counterfield? Something that could disrupt our cloaking technology, Sunwoo replied, his fingers moving rapidly over his controls. It's crude but potentially effective. Tae-min turned from his analysis station. Captain, Confederation protocols are clear. We must withdraw immediately. Daeho stared at the main screen showing Earth rotating slowly below them. 300 years of observation, and now this moment had arrived. The choice he made would affect not just his crew, but 2 entire civilizations. How long until our retreat vectors are calculated? He asked. 20 minutes, Jisoo replied. Daeho nodded. And how long until the humans can deploy their counterfield? Sunwoo checked his readings. Based on their energy buildup, approximately 18 minutes. A tense silence fell over the bridge. Everyone understood the implications. If they waited for the full retreat calculations, the humans might trap them before they could leave. Begin immediate emergency withdrawal procedures, Daeho ordered. We cannot risk. Captain, interrupted Communications Officer Sungmin. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's being broadcast on all frequencies. Daeho hesitated, then nodded. Put it through. The main screen changed to show a human face, the same researcher they had been monitoring for months. Dr. Han Bin looked directly into the camera, almost as if he could see them. To the vessels observing Earth, he said, his voice calm and measured. We know you're there. We don't know your intentions, but we believe that if you meant us harm, you would have acted long ago. We wish to establish contact. Please respond. Daeho felt the eyes of his entire crew on him. Confederation protocols strictly forbade contact with pre-warp civilizations, yet humanity stood at the threshold, mere years away from that achievement. Continue withdrawal preparations, he ordered, his voice low. Then, after a pause, but slowly, down on Earth, Han Bin waited in the communication center, surrounded by military and government officials. The message had been sent, broadcasting continuously for the past hour. So far, there had been no response. Maybe they've already left, suggested Sujai, standing beside him. No, Han Bin shook his head. They're still there. Our quantum arrays still detect them. General Minho approached, his face stern. The counterfield generator will be ready in 5 minutes. Once activated, their cloaking technology should fail. Han Bin frowned. Give them more time to respond. We've given them enough time, the general replied. The Security Council has made its decision. We need to level the playing field. Around the world, military forces stood ready. Fighter jets waited on runways, missile defense systems tracked the coordinates of the invisible ships, and space agencies prepared emergency launches. It was humanity's most coordinated global action in history. Han Bin made one last attempt. Please, he said into the microphone. We don't want this to become a confrontation. Respond to our message. Aboard the flagship, Daho watched the humans' plea. Something in the scientist's expression reminded him of his own people's first encounters with the wider galaxy centuries ago. That mixture of fear, hope, and determination. "Sir," Jisoo said quietly, "withdrawal vectors are ready. We should leave now." Daho turned to his communications officer. "Can we respond without revealing our tactical systems?" Sung Min looked surprised but checked his console. "Yes, Captain. A basic audio transmission would be secure." "Confederation protocols," Tanin began. "I know the protocols," Daho cut him off. "I also know that sometimes progress requires taking risks." He straightened his uniform. "Open a channel." On Earth, Han Bin was about to give up when the communication system crackled to life. A voice came through, slightly mechanical, as if processed through translation software, but clear. "People of Earth, this is Captain Daho of the Stellar Confederation Observation Fleet. We acknowledge your detection of our presence." The room erupted in shocked exclamations. Han Bin gripped the edge of the console, his heart pounding. It had worked. They were answering. "We have observed your world for 3 centuries, the voice continued. "Your development has been of great interest to our people." General Minho stepped forward. "Ask them their intentions," he whispered urgently. Han Bin nodded and leaned toward the microphone. "Captain Daho, we welcome your response. May I ask why you have been watching us, and what your intentions are?" There was a pause before the reply came. "Our mission has been purely observational. The Confederation studies developing species throughout the galaxy. We do not interfere." "Yet you've hidden yourselves from us," Han Bin pointed out. "Why reveal yourselves now?" "We did not reveal ourselves," came the reply. "You found us, and now we face a choice. Retreat as our protocols demand, or acknowledge that humanity has reached a point where contact is inevitable." General Minho interrupted. "The counterfield is ready, sir, awaiting your order." Han Bin held up his hand. "Captain Daho, we are prepared to disable your cloaking technology. We would prefer not to take hostile action, but we need assurance that your presence poses no threat to Earth." The reply took longer this time. When it came, the alien captain's voice seemed somehow more personal, less formal. "Dr. Han Bin, your caution is understandable. In your position, my people would do the same. I propose a compromise, a formal meeting between representatives of Earth and the observation fleet, a first contact, conducted properly." Han Bin looked at the government officials around him. The South Korean president nodded slowly. "We accept," Han Bin replied. "How do you propose we proceed?" As dawn broke over the Korean peninsula, plans were made for humanity's first official meeting with an extraterrestrial civilization. The observation fleet remained in orbit, now acknowledged and communicating openly, and Captain Daho prepared to break 3 centuries of silence with a historic meeting that would change 2 worlds forever. The counter-cloaking field activated with a surge of energy that rippled through Earth's orbit. Aboard the observation fleet's command vessel, systems flickered as their invisibility dissolved. "Cloaking field failure across all vessels," Jisoo reported, struggling to maintain composure. The fleet became visible to Earth's telescopes and satellites, 12 sleek vessels of clearly non-human design. Captain Daho ordered immediate withdrawal, but Earth had anticipated this response. A network of hastily deployed satellites created a temporary disruption field that prevented the aliens from engaging their faster-than-light drives. "We're receiving a transmission from the planet," Communications Officer Sung Min announced. The message was simple. "We know you're there. We wish to talk." What followed was humanity's first official contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, not as discovered primitives, but as equals who had turned the tables on their observers. Captain Daho gripped the edge of his command chair as warning lights flashed across the bridge. The ship shuddered slightly as the cloaking systems failed completely. "Status report," he demanded, his voice steady despite the crisis. Engineer Sunwoo worked frantically at his station. The humans have deployed some kind of energy field that directly counters our cloaking technology. It's crude but effective. On the main screen, Daeho could see the other 11 ships of his fleet now fully visible against the blackness of space, their sleek silver hulls reflecting Earth's sunlight. Engage withdrawal sequence. Daeho ordered. Maximum speed. Jisoo turned from her console, her face pale. Captain, drive systems are not responding. Something is interfering with our faster-than-light initiators. Tanmin's voice rose with alarm. They'd surrounded us with some kind of disruption field. These readings suggest they've adapted our own technology against us. Impossible. Kang Dae, the security chief, protested. How could they reverse engineer our systems so quickly? Never underestimate humans, Daeho said quietly. Their adaptability is their greatest strength. The communications console chimed. Some men hesitated before reporting. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Daeho nodded. Put it through. Dr. Hanbin's face appeared on screen. Behind him stood several military officers and government officials. The human scientist didn't look triumphant, merely resolute. Captain Daeho, as you can see, we have neutralized your cloaking technology and temporarily disabled your drive systems. We don't wish to hold you prisoner, but we needed to ensure you wouldn't leave before we could properly talk. Daeho studied the human's face before responding. An impressive demonstration. Dr. Hanbin, it seems we have underestimated your capabilities. We learned from studying you, Hanbin replied. The energy signatures from your cloaking field gave us the information we needed. On Earth, in the Korean Space Agency's command center, Hanbin felt his heart racing despite his calm exterior. Behind him, General Minho watched the alien captain with wary eyes. We propose a meeting, Hanbin continued. Face to face, a formal first contact between our peoples. The alien captain was silent for a long moment. Such contact violates our protocols. Your civilization has not yet achieved independent faster-than-light travel. Yet you've been watching us for centuries, Hanbin countered. And now circumstances have forced both our hands. We can't go back to ignorance, and you can't simply disappear. Sujai stepped forward, whispering in Hanbin's ear. The satellite network can't maintain the disruption field for more than 12 hours. They'll know that soon if they don't already. Hanbin nodded slightly, then addressed the alien again. Captain, we propose neutral ground for our meeting. Our International Space Station has been prepared. We can transport you there, or you can send your own shuttle. On the bridge of his ship, Daeho consulted quietly with his officers. They know we'll eventually break free of their disruption field. Jisoo whispered. This is just a delaying tactic. Or a genuine offer, Daeho replied. If they wanted conflict, they could have attempted to attack while we were vulnerable. The Confederation will not approve of direct contact, Taimin warned. Daeho straightened. The Confederation sent us to observe humanity's development. I believe this qualifies as a significant development. He turned back to the screen. Dr. Hanbin, I accept your proposal. I will travel to your space station with a small delegation. 3 hours later, a shuttle from the alien command ship approached the International Space Station. From observation windows around the world, millions watched the historic moment unfold live on their screens. Inside the station, Hanbin waited with Suji and representatives from major Earth governments. The airlock cycled, and for the first time, humans came face to face with members of the Stellar Confederation. Captain Daeho was taller than Hanbin had expected, nearly 2 meters in height. His skin had a pale blue tint, and his eyes were larger than human eyes, dark and reflective. Behind him stood 2 other aliens. Jisoo, slightly shorter with more delicate features, and Tanin, who carried what appeared to be scientific equipment. Dr. Hanbin, the captain said, his voice now unfiltered by communication systems. On behalf of the Stellar Confederation, I greet you. Hanbin stepped forward. and following the protocol that had been hastily established, extended his right hand. Captain Daho, on behalf of Earth, I welcome you. After a moment's hesitation, the alien captain reached out and clasped Hanbin's hand, the first physical contact between their species. You forced this meeting, Daho said, his tone neutral rather than accusatory. A remarkable achievement for a species we believed was still years away from detecting us. Perhaps you watched us too closely without truly seeing us, Hanbin suggested. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. Perhaps. 3 centuries of observation, and you still surprise us. The formal meeting began in the station's conference room. Earth's representatives presented information about human culture, government, and technology, while the aliens shared limited information about the Stellar Confederation. How many other species are in this confederation? Asked the United Nations Secretary General. 27 full members and 42 associate species, Daho replied. Some have been spacefaring for thousands of years. Others, like yourselves, are newer to the stars. And what happens now? Hanbin asked the question everyone wanted answered. Now that we know about you, what changes? Captain Daho looked out the window at Earth below. Everything changes. The Confederation's protocols for pre-contact species no longer apply to humanity. You have forced open a door by your own ingenuity. Will your people be angry? Suji asked. Jisoo, the female alien, spoke for the first time. Some will be. Others will be impressed. Humans have demonstrated both technological capability and restraint, qualities the Confederation values. This is only the beginning, Captain Daho added. A long process of mutual understanding lies ahead. As the meeting continued into the night, both sides recognized the historic nature of the moment. Humanity had proven itself not by conquest or aggression, but by cleverness and determination, and in doing so, had earned its first step onto a much larger galactic stage. Captain Daho composed the final official broadcast to the Stellar Confederation with careful precision. This will be the last transmission from Observation Fleet Delta 9, he began. The human species has demonstrated technological capabilities significantly beyond our assessment parameters. They have not only detected our presence but neutralized our cloaking technology. The captain paused, choosing his next words carefully. Most significantly, they have shown restraint. Despite possessing the capability to attempt offensive action against our vessels, they have instead proposed diplomatic contact. I recommend immediate diplomatic recognition of Earth as a Tier 2 civilization, with potential fast-track consideration for Confederation association. The broadcast continued with detailed assessments of human capabilities and recommended engagement protocols. It concluded with an observation that would reshape the Confederation's understanding of emerging sentient species. We have underestimated humanity. They are not merely clever animals with technology, but a species of remarkable adaptability and resourcefulness. They should not be approached with condescension or hostile intent, but with the respect due to potential equals. 3 days later, Captain Daho met face-to-face with Dr. Hanbin aboard the command vessel, marking the beginning of formal relations between Earth and the wider galactic community. As they shook hands, the human gesture adopted by the captain, both knew that the universe had forever changed. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest, but through ingenuity and the will to reach beyond their limits. Captain Daho sat alone in his private quarters, reviewing the final broadcast one last time before sending it to the Stellar Confederation. After 3 centuries of silent observation, this would be the last official report from Observation Fleet Delta 9. The words had to be perfect. He read through the assessment of human technology again. Their counter-cloaking field had been crude but effective. Their ability to adapt and reverse engineer alien technology in mere days was unprecedented in Confederation records. The humans had turned the tables on their watchers with remarkable speed. A soft chime announced a visitor. "Enter," he called. Officer Jisoo stepped inside, carrying a datapad. The final diplomatic protocols have been established with Earth's United Nations, she reported. They're requesting permission to send a delegation to visit our ship tomorrow. Daho nodded. Approved. Select areas only, following security guidelines. Jisoo hesitated. Captain, the Confederation Council has responded to our initial report. They're not pleased with the breach of observation protocols. As expected, Daho said calmly. They'll change their position once they review our full data. And if they don't? The captain stood and walked to his... In the ship's observation lounge, with Earth visible through the large windows, Han Bin found himself alone with the alien captain. Your final broadcast to your people, Han Bin said. What did you tell them about us? Daho looked at the human scientist thoughtfully. The truth. That humanity surprised us. That you demonstrated both ingenuity and restraint. And what happens now? Han Bin asked. Now we wait for the Confederation Council's response, Daho replied. But regardless of their decision, things have changed. Knowledge can't be unlearned. Will other ships come? Eventually, Daho nodded. Diplomatic vessels, science teams. Earth is now known to the wider galaxy. Han Bin looked out at his home planet. We're not ready for this. We still fight among ourselves. We have so many problems to solve. Yet you united when you detected us. Daho pointed out. Perhaps this is exactly what humanity needs, a larger perspective. 1 week later, the Confederation Council's response arrived. Captain Daho called Dr. Han Bin to his ship immediately. The Council has accepted my recommendation, he announced when the human arrived. Earth is officially recognized as a Tier 2 civilization, eligible for limited technology exchange and cultural contact. Han Bin's face broke into a smile. That's wonderful news. There are conditions, Daho cautioned. The observation fleet will remain in orbit as a diplomatic mission. Technology transfers will be strictly controlled, and Earth must demonstrate stable global cooperation. Small steps, Han Bin nodded, but in the right direction. That evening, as the sun set over Korea, Han Bin sat in his office watching the night sky. Somewhere up there, visible now to Earth's telescopes, 12 alien ships continued their watch. But everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone, no longer isolated in the vast darkness of space. His computer chimed with a message from Captain Daho. The Confederation diplomatic vessel will arrive in 6 months. Prepare your people. The universe is larger and more wondrous than they imagine. Han Bin smiled as he typed his reply. We've been ready for centuries. We just needed someone to open the door. High above Earth, Captain Daho read the human's message and looked out at the stars. After 300 years of silent observation, the Watchers and the Watched now faced the future together. The final broadcast had been sent, and a new chapter had begun.